All right, ladies and gentlemen, so we're going to step back here a little bit. So we've done externalities, we've done taxation, elasticity, and we're going to talk a little bit more about our demand curve now in this next section here, where the idea is we're going to talk about our demand curve as it relates to this concept called utility. Utility is not really that tricky, and most students actually kind of like it. It's simple. It explains a phenomenon that you're very familiar with, and we'll get to that in a second. But the first thing I'd like you to think about, why does the demand curve for any product really slope downward? What's the deal there? Why does this happen? So again, here's our, and hopefully some of you are like, well, Mr. Sutton, when the price is high, buyers aren't really that thrilled to buy such a product, so the quantity demand is pretty low, but then when it falls, the quantity demand increases. Yeah. And maybe some of you really savvy and people with great memories remember we talked a little bit about substitution and income effects, where when the price is high, people look for substitutes and they'll buy other products, not whatever this is. If this is the price of roses is really high, maybe they'll buy daisies or whatever. Same thing with when the price is high, they feel poor, so they don't buy these types of products, so on and so forth. But the other idea is that utility is going to influence the slope of this curve. So the first thing we're going to do is I want to have you look at this little scenario here. So what I do is, if I were in class this day, I either have some peanut butter cups or I have some Oreos. And I ask if anybody's a particular fan of these things, and I'll bring up a couple people who say that who profess that they really love my peanut butter cups or my Oreos. It doesn't matter which one we use. And what I do is I ask them to rate each cookie or Oreo that they eat, and I've got a bunch of them. I say rate 1 to 10 how good they are, or how much you enjoy them. 10's the highest and 1's the lowest. So normally I ask them, well, when they have 0 cookies, how good are they? I guess I should say it's 0 to 10, not just 1 to 10. It doesn't matter, but and they'll say, oh, well, it takes them a second, they'll rate it. They're like, I don't have anything to rate, and I'm like, exactly. So how is this cookie that you do not have? And they'll say, well, I can't rate it, so that's a 0. And then I'll say, okay, I give them the first one and make them eat it, and they go, oh yeah, Mr. Sutton, I confirm my love. I rated a 10. And I say, okay. And as soon as they finish that first one, I offer them a second one. And sometimes they say 10. Sometimes they say, let's play along here. Let's imagine they say 10 for a little bit. Okay, they say 10. Third one, 10. Fourth one, normally it happens probably a little before the fourth one, but normally now they've housed 3 Oreos or 3 peanut butter cups in about 90 seconds. And at this point in the game, if they haven't already, what do you think they do? Mr. Sutton, they ask, Mr. Sutton, can I get a drink? I'm kind of thirsty. No, that wasn't part of the deal. No, it wasn't milk and cookies. It wasn't peanut butter cups and a glass of water. It was just the peanut butter cups. Sorry, don't have any glass of water for you. And then they look at me and they go, okay. And I say, you want another cookie? And all right, Mr. Sutton. I ask them to rate it. All of a sudden, they go okay, that was an 8. And then, I'm like, all right, and then they're kind of looking at me. And then, okay, I'm going to eat the 5th one because Mr. Sutton's got it here. And it goes to a 6. And by the 6th one, most of the time I got people tapping out. But sometimes we get down to a 4. One year I had a kid tell me, he goes, Mr. Sutton, I don't even want to eat this anymore. I don't even, he goes, I we'll go say he went to the 7. He's like, I'm in a 0. I'm at a 0. That gave me no happiness whatsoever. I wish I wouldn't have eaten that. And so this is a phenomena here that we call utility here, when they're rating how much they enjoy something. And these ratings, we term them in the unit we use is utils. So these equal measure utility. I call them happy points. All right? The more utils you got, the happier you are. And so you would say that these are rated in utils. Now, I'm going to pause here. I'm going to adjust. So I adjusted my numbers so that they kind of fell with each one, because sometimes students don't necessarily understand what's happening, and they don't necessarily accept that the second one is not quite as enjoyable as the first one. But as soon as they start to get a little thirsty, the phenomenon begins to set in. Now, this is a certain type of utility here. Notice this is I asked them to rate. This is how much they're rating that first Oreo, number 1 Oreo. This is how much they rated the second Oreo on its own, the third Oreo peanut butter cup on its own. Anybody know what we're going to call this? This is utility, but what type of utility? This is actually what we call marginal utility, because it's measuring the utility of each unit. All right. I'll make it a little bigger. But we could also ask for the total utility. Anybody know how we would find the total utility? Well, what do you think the total utility when we have 0 cookies or Reese's peanut butter cups is? Seems reasonable that it would be 0. What's the total utility when we've had 1 Oreo peanut butter cup? Well, the first one gave us 10, so that's 10. What about now that we've had 2? Anybody? Some people might say 16, Mr. Sutton. 16. 8 times 2. No. How much utility did you get from the first one? 10. How much utility did you get from the second one? 8. Well, that looks like it's 18 to me. So now this 18 represents the utility you've received from eating not just the first Oreo, but the first and the second Oreo. Now we want to do the utility when we get the total utility when we eat 1, 2, 3 Oreos. So here now you're going to go 10 plus 8 plus 6. Looks like 24. All right. Fill in the rest of this column here for me, and then check yourself. Okay. Okay. So hopefully you just did it and you came up with numbers similar to what I have here, and it's not crazy here. So you're just adding the marginal utilities to get your total utilities. Now, they could easily give you the total utility, and then you would have to look at the difference between each unit to get your marginal utility. So you'd have to go, okay, we went from 0 to 10 for our total utility. That means the first one was worth 10. We went from 10 to 18. Okay, 18 minus 10, that gives me 8 for that second cookie. So these are the marginal, the individual utilities for each Oreo. This is all the ones that you've consumed to that point added together. Now, I want you to look at the relationship between the quantity here and the marginal utility. You should notice something. As the quantity increases, what happens to your marginal utility? It decreases. Now, if I go back a second, think about any product. The first slice of pizza that you eat, right? That, if you're hungry, man, that slice of pizza, that price that you would pay would be pretty high, right? But the 10th slice of pizza, I doubt many people would pay the same price for the 10th slice of pizza that they would for the first one. So you notice the price is lower. Well, the utility, the marginal utility, is lower as well. Okay? So what I want you to do right now, the first page in your utility section, your utility packet, is why is a demand curve downward sloping? Well, you're going to go recreate what we just did on that chart. You're going to make a couple graphs on the back, and then you're going to get back to me. All right? Good luck.